Joey Logano just said the quiet part out loud, and it's bad news for Connor Zilisch. According to a three-time Cup Series champion, there is one problem this kid simply cannot escape, no matter how talented he is. And after what happened this past weekend at Chicagoland, it is impossible to ignore any longer. A 19-year-old phenom is colliding head-on with a brutal reality, and the sport's biggest names are starting to talk. This is the story nobody is telling completely, until now. If you enjoy deep NASCAR coverage, hit like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and there is a lot more coming your way. Connor Zilisch drives the number 88 Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. He was called a generational talent. People said he was going to win, and win fast. When he arrived in the Cup Series this year, expectations were sky high, but so far, it just has not happened. And this past weekend at Chicagoland made things even harder to watch. So why did everyone believe so strongly in this kid in the first place? The answer is simple. His record spoke for itself. Zilisch came up through the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and he was flat-out dominant. Depending on which report you read, he won somewhere between 10 and 13 races last season, narrowly losing the championship to Jesse Love in a close battle. His most recent win in that series came in May at Watkins Glen. Before that, he had spent 10 years in competitive kart racing, including a stint racing in Europe at just 11 years old. He won the 2024 Rolex 24 and the 12 Hours of Sebring. He collected ARCA wins, Truck Series poles, and dominated Xfinity with 12 consecutive top 5 finishes. This was not hype built on nothing. This was hype earned on every track he touched. When Trackhouse Racing founder and owner Justin Marks signed him to a multi-year deal, he left no room for doubt. Marks called Zilisch a rare talent that comes along every few decades. The deal runs through 2027, and Chevrolet and General Motors are heavily invested in his future. Everything was in place. The talent, the team, the backing. And then the Cup Series happened. July 5th, NASCAR returned to Chicagoland Speedway for the Grant Park 165. Zilisch started the race in 21st place, right in the middle of the pack, a seemingly safe position. But nothing about that day was safe. As the field swept through the first turns and onto the backstretch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got squeezed near the outside wall, triggering a chain reaction. Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek were involved, and the wreck cascaded instantly. Ryan Preece spun directly into Zilisch. There was nowhere to go. His car slammed hard into the inside wall, the front end completely destroyed. Over the radio, Zilisch's pain was raw and real. He said, "We're destroyed. I am sorry, guys. Oh my, can't get anything to go for me." That last line cuts deep. His race was over. He finished dead last. And here is the devastating part. This was not a one-time event. The numbers tell a story that is impossible to spin positively. In his last 7 races, the number 88 car has been caught up in a wreck 5 times. He has finished 30th or worse 9 times this season. He crashed in 3 consecutive races, Charlotte, Nashville, and Michigan, then ran 23rd at Pocono before crashing again and finishing 37th at San Diego. His average finish coming into Chicagoland was 27th, with 7 DNFs, the most of any driver in the next-gen era to this point in a season. Right now, he sits 34th in the standings, worse than every single full-time driver except Cody Ware. The Michigan race said everything. Zilisch had 2 spins in the first 9 laps. On the radio after the first spin, he said, "It just snapped. Gosh, man." The second spin ended his afternoon entirely. First driver out of the race, last place again. There was one brief moment of hope. At Sonoma, Zilisch finally broke through with a 7th place finish, his first career Cup Series top 10. Afterward, he said, "It felt good to have a clean run. We needed a day like this to go into next week with something to build on." 1 week later, it was all gone on lap 1 at Chicagoland. That is where his season stands. This is where Joey Logano stepped in. And what he said changes the entire conversation. Logano is a 3-time Cup Series champion, but more importantly for this story, he was once exactly where Zilisch is now. He was the hyped young prospect. He was that guy in the lower series. On a recent podcast, Logano got real. He said, "Connor was dubbed that guy, and he was that in the O'Reilly series just like I was when I started." Then he identified the trap. He said, This whole, hype, living up to the hype, get to the cup level, and that's exactly what happened to me the first 2 years. But Logano did not stop there. He went deeper, and what he revealed is the hidden problem Connor Zilisch simply cannot escape, no matter how much talent he has. The jump from the O'Reilly Series to the Cup Series is the largest jump in motorsports, period. Hands down, there's not a larger jump from a talent level. Everybody in the Cup Series can go to the O'Reilly Series and win today. Every single one of them. That is Logano's bombshell. And he backed it up with his own story. When he was young, he looked at the slower cars running at the back of cup fields and thought they were nothing. Then he actually raced them. His words, "I thought those guys that run in the back every week, I'm like, they suck. I can beat them. And then I'm watching them just laying 2 black marks off the corner. I'm like, holy cow, these guys are really good. And I couldn't keep up." So what is the real secret to surviving that gap? Logano was clear. It is not raw talent. Connor already has that. It is the tiny details, the adjustments that can only be learned over years of experience, knowing exactly what to ask from your crew chief, understanding how to communicate what the car needs, learning how to manipulate setup changes under pressure. Logano said, the drivers knowing what they need in their team, in their car, and how to just manipulate so much stuff, that's what makes them great. And it takes years to do it. Connor will do it. He even called Zilisch a diamond in the rough, saying he just needs to be around long enough. And here is where the story takes a turn that should give every fan hope. Logano almost did not make it himself. People forget this. He was a can't-miss prospect for Joe Gibbs Racing, and then he lost his ride after the 2012 season. He was essentially out of a job in NASCAR. Roger Penske gave him a second chance, and the rest is history. 3 championships. But Logano says it was closer than anyone remembers. His words were powerful. "I almost lost my chance. I was this close to not making it." Forget 3 championships, not making it, not driving race cars. And we need to give these younger guys a chance to keep up and catch up. Zilisch himself has already identified the same lesson. Earlier this season, he admitted that patience is the most important skill he is developing, knowing when to push and when to wait. It is also worth noting that Connor's struggles are not happening in isolation. Trackhouse Racing as a whole has had a difficult 2026 season. Ross Chastain, who reached the Final Four of the 2023 playoffs, is sitting around 22nd in the standings. Shane van Gisbergen is 14th, but that is largely due to his 2 road course wins this year. This is a team-wide slump, not a one-driver problem. And, importantly, Trackhouse is not walking away. The deal is locked through 2027. And Justin Marks has made his belief in Zilisch very clear. Logano also raised a warning that resonates far beyond statistics. He compared how fans treat him versus Carson Hocevar, saying, "To this day, I still get booed like you wouldn't believe for the things I did when I was 19 years old." Then he pointed directly at Hocevar. "This kid comes in and wrecks way more people than I ever did, and people love him." Logano was not bitter about it. He actually praised Hocevar, saying he is great for the sport. But the question he raised is real. Will fans extend Connor Zilisch the same patience, or will they turn on him the way they once turned on Logano? Sunday, July 12th, at Atlanta's Echo Park Speedway, is next. Connor Zilisch desperately needs a clean day. The pressure is building with every race. The momentum from Sonoma evaporated in 1 lap at Chicagoland. Can he finally string together a result that lasts longer than a single weekend? This channel is brand new, and we are working hard to build something special for NASCAR fans who want real, in-depth coverage like this. If this video gave you something to think about, please take 2 seconds to like it and subscribe. We are pushing toward 2,000 subscribers, and every single one genuinely matters to us. Your support is what keeps this going. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Connor Zilisch will turn it around? Should fans give him more time, or is the hype already dead? And who is really to blame? Connor, Trackhouse, or simply the brutal learning curve of the Cup Series? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The conversation starts right there.